Okay. Yeah. So this is my first live stream. I don't expect there to be any audience members, but I'm just sort of going to go through what I'm building, who I'm building it for, and a recent sort of decision to use the OpenAI Realtime API for my application. Um, So, PhoneScreen.ai is a service for basically to streamline the candidate screening process for companies. Typically when you're applying for a new job, even before the interview starts, you usually have a 15-minute, 20-minute conversation with a recruiter on the phone, just to make sure what you sort of have on your resume fits with the needs of the company. And a lot of that just comes down to the fact that it's so easy to sort of like say whatever you want on paper, especially when you have AI that can write a perfect resume and cover letter, that the recruiter still needs to have these sort of conversations to vet the candidate before taking the time of the actual employees of the company. And so that kind of becomes a bottleneck because you can only get enough candidates in the door if you have that sort of manual human vetting step. And so I sort of set off about 6 months ago building a solution that uses AI to automate and remove that sort of bottleneck, remove that human vetting step. And it's called phonescreen.ai. Um, and essentially, the way that it works is I'll actually show you the way that it works. Why not? Um, is I'll just share my browser. Um, but yeah, essentially, when you log into PhoneScreenAI, you can just add a new job, and so we can go to just a job board. This is just some random job board, but you're working at a company, you've got a job that you're trying to fill. Why is this not working? So let's say scratch pay here. They're looking for a sales development rep. I'm just going to copy this job description. So imagine you're working at a company, you're trying to fill a role. You just copy the job description that you have. You come over to PhoneScreen AI here, and you just paste in the text. We're using OpenAI in the background to generate sort of structured output. Take this unstructured job listing and generate sort of structured output. And you can see it shows up here. If we click on it, we can actually go into the job details, and we can see that it found the salary. It found that it was a remote first job, remote friendly. It pulls in the description, the requirements, responsibilities. But then it also uses AI to generate some good screening questions. And so, can you describe your experience in sales, particularly within financial services or payment processing? What CRM systems and sales enablement tools have you used? What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions. Pretty good ones. And you can remove these, or you can edit them, or you can even change the order pretty easily. So we can save that. And then at this point, all you have to do is share your sort of screening link with the candidate. And so I'll just show you sort of how this works. I'll put in my info here. I have this little sort of warm up that sort of tells you that you're about to speak with an AI, and so it's not like a perfect replacement with a conversation with a human, and so it just sort of sets the stage. And so I click begin call, and then sure enough, I'm getting a call back. And so um, we will see how this goes.
Hello, this is Ashley, your recruiter. I'm here to interview you for the Sales Development Representative position. Let's get started with the first question. Can you describe your experience in sales, particularly within financial services or payment processing, and any achievements you have made? Great. Please go ahead and share your experience.
Yeah, I've never actually worked in sales before, so I don't really have a great answer to that question.
Thank you for sharing. Let's move to the next question. How do you approach cold calling? And what strategies do you use to maintain resilience in high volume calling situations?
Yeah, I mean, just open a phone book and start with the A's and work your way down, and just try to keep a positive attitude and start every call with a smile, because I really believe that you can hear the smile on the other end of the call, and just be warm, friendly, and honest with people. And it's a volume game, so don't waste their time, don't waste your time, and just try to dial as many times as you can in a given day.
Thanks for sharing. Now, let's talk about CRM systems and sales enablement tools. What have you used? And can you provide examples of how you've used them effectively?
Yeah, I have experience with Salesforce. I have experience with HubSpot. And yeah, I've used sales enablement tools like Seismic. I've used tools like Outreach to create sort of sales sequences, and marketing automation kind of provided in HubSpot. And yeah, I'm also just comfortable like building slide decks and sort of all of these sort of building collateral that I can use in my sales work.
Thank you for that. Now, can you share a time when your communication and interpersonal skills helped you influence a sale or overcome a challenging objection?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course. Can you share a time when your communication and interpersonal skills helped you influence a sale or overcome a challenging objection?
So I'll hang up there, but you get the point. That's basically a natural sort of screening, sort of back and forth. And so now that I've sort of finished, I would have gone through all the questions or whatnot. And so um, my application then generates a transcript of the conversation. It has sort of a scoring algorithm that I've designed where I'm using a series of AI calls to sort of understand what the question was, figure out what a good answer would be, and then looking at how the candidate responded, and applying a score that way. And so if I refresh this page, um, we should see how I did. So here's the candidate for this job. Off the bat, we can replay and listen to the whole call. We can also read the transcript um, on this page here. We can download all the data. We can download the MP3 file of the call, and we can see. Remember that first question I said that I've never actually worked in sales before. We can see that. We can understand why I was given this score of a 0. And then, yeah, you can kind of see how I answer all of these, and the way that it sort of it provides reasoning why. And then I ended the call early, so I didn't get to these last two questions, and so it assigned me a 0. Um, but as you can see, this could sort of help streamline the candidate recruiting flow for just about any company, especially those companies that have high volume sort of recruiting needs, especially sort of blue collar workforces where there tends to be a higher volume of jobs, higher turnover. That sort of is sort of a really great niche for a tool like this. Maybe to show you some other. Let's see here. Some other ones where I've scored a little bit better. You can see it here. But yeah, that's about it. I also have it set up where you can set a webhook so that when a candidate's sort of scores show up, it can post to a webhook. So if you already have a recruiting system or a CRM that you manage these things, these are the events that I push to the webhook. You can also intercept it with Zapier so that you could even like automate an email follow up or something like that with a candidate. And yeah, so let me stop sharing my screen and let me tell you a little bit about the conversational AI piece of it. Originally, I was using bland.ai, or whatever, use bland. Bland is a sort of a infrastructure, a conversational AI infrastructure. They have a really nice sort of front end user interface that allows you to design sort of call experiences. And I was using it for the last 6 months, and it was okay. But I had a lot of issues with like interruptions because I think where Bland sort of optimizes for is sort of shorter user responses. Like they're sort of the typical conversations are not these long-winded interview type responses, and so I was sort of struggling where like the AI would cut the user off a lot and it would create a lot of sort of weird back and forth dynamics in the call and ultimately a negative experience for the candidate. And a lot of candidates would even sort of give up mid call. It would also it was just kind of clunky and I didn't have a lot of ability to directly control the experience. And so I decided to research the real-time API from OpenAI and basically build it from scratch, specifically for my use case. And the great thing about using it directly is that, yeah, I can control all of the settings. There's sort of a configuration. You can set the system prompt exactly how you want it. You can set the sort of interruption threshold, very precisely. You can use tool calling, and so I have this cool sort of flow within my sort of conversational setup that when the user provides an answer, a response, I analyze the response to make sure it makes sense to move on to the next question. If the user is like, okay, or let me think, instead of it accepting that as your response to that question and moving on to the next one, it says, okay, yeah, go for it, take your time, let me know when you have your answer for it. Or, it basically gives you the right amount of time to answer. And then, you can have additional tools there that are like detect when it's the end of the call and just say like thanks for the time today, and end of the call and stuff like that. And so yeah, it is great because I think where I would have graded my sort of user experience with the bland AI, I would have rated it probably like a C minus as far as like the quality of the conversations. I think I can easily say that using the real time OpenAI API is more like a B plus. And so a considerable jump and one that I think is pretty much ready for prime time at this point. And yeah, so excited about the improvement that I was able to get by moving to just using the OpenAI API directly. Definitely had to write more code and figure out how that all worked. I have a whole nother server that I have to maintain. That is the Realtime API in addition to my Next.js app. So there's more complexity there that I avoided with using Bland in the past. But I just was hitting a wall with not being able to get my conversations to where they needed to be using sort of a third-party agent. So built it myself. So anyways, that's sort of what I wanted to share in this stream.